Let me ask you something. How many decisions are truly yours? Think about it. Do you say yes when you actually want to say no? Or do you dress in a specific way when you're going out, knowing there will be specific reactions to what you wear? Or do you hold back your thoughts because you're afraid of what people may think? Or you hold back good ideas because you're not sure how your family or friends will respond? If this is you in any of these examples, then let's talk. Get yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee and let's have a chat about this. So the first thing that I can say is you're not alone. And we all have this. We all do this. We want to be liked, we want to fit in, and we want to be appreciated. And that's fine and that's natural. But there is this point where we chase approval or appreciation where it's actually going beyond what is really good for ourselves. And these are the cases I want to talk about today. Because if we're always chasing approval, we never really feel free. And not feeling free can cause all kinds of issues. And I know exactly what it feels like. I've also been there. And I also know that there's a way out. So let me share in this video with you how I break free in 3 steps. So the first step that is important is to actually know your own pattern. In which situations do you actually look for approval? Take a moment and reflect on these questions. When do I feel the need to be liked? Do I change my opinion, words, or actions just to fit in? Do I feel anxious when somebody doesn't respond the way I hoped? So most of us, specifically us girls, are trained to be liked. So we learn this natural tendency to seek for approval at all times. Because being liked makes us feel safe. And maybe in childhood we were also rewarded for being a good girl and being criticized if we stepped over the line. Now, as adult, this behavior usually shows up as hesitation, self-doubt, and second-guessing. But here's the truth. Our worth is not up for discussion. And while it's nice to have the approval of others, it's not necessary. And from my own reflection, I can say that this type of behavior has specific triggers. So it's good to learn to know your patterns. Because in order to break free, it's good to catch yourself in the moment when you're at it. So watch for a feeling of being a bit uneasy. And then ask yourself, am I changing my words, my actions, or my appearance in order to fit in? Do I feel anxious of how someone will respond? Am I making my decisions truly on what I want or on what others may approve? Just noticing these moments is a huge step forward. And also, if I'm not 100% sure, because sometimes it's really hard to know, you can ask yourself, if there was no one around, would I be thinking exactly the same thing? Would I make the same decision if no one else is watching? If your answer is yes, then that is self-alignment. And if the answer is no, you may be seeking validation. For me, an epiphany was really to understand that others' opinions are not the truth. They're only a perspective. So we need to stop opinions as truth and tying feedback to what we are worth. And if we've been running on autopilot in some of these areas, then this will take practice. And when someone gives us an opinion that is not positive for us, we could do something that I call the so what test. Asking myself, so what? if they don't like it? So what if they disagree? The clue is in not taking it personal. And to be honest, in most of the time, nothing happens. If they're good people, they'll still be with you. Life moves on, and you're still the same person you were before. Now let's move to step 2, how to get inner distance from judgment so it stops controlling us. Now let's be honest, people judge us no matter what we do. No matter how hard we try, it's impossible to please everyone. And it's also impossible to control how others see us. They are never capable of seeing the full picture. And I've experienced this many times, and I'm also experiencing it right now with my YouTube channel. Some people appreciate my work, and some don't. And now, even though my channel is really small at this stage, I am getting some very interesting comments on all of these topics. Positive and the negatives are also coming now. And this is a very good learning experience for me. I can really see where I am. And I think the most important realization for me, and this is not only about the YouTube channel, but in life, is that judgment says more about the person that's judging you than really about you. Because like I said before, they only see a very small picture. It's only a fragment. So how can we respond to this? I think the most important thing is not to react. Taking a pause, reflecting, giving ourselves some space, and letting our emotions settle before we decide what to do. And the decision to make here is, does this opinion matter to me? Does this person understand me or what I'm trying to say or do? Does this person share my values? Is this constructive feedback or just somebody blumping out their opinion? And when we choose whose opinion really matters to us, that changes the whole game. And by the way, let me say that this isn't not only, I've given the negative example here, but the same goes for the positive. If we are trained to be a people pleaser, it's also very interesting to do the same exercise with the positive opinions. Because if this is our pattern, if we don't feel worthy from inside of us, positive opinions can also be very limiting to our growth, because we're trying to live up to people's expectations instead of living up to our own expectations. And let me be honest with you, this is not a topic where you do 3 exercises and you fix it all. I know this because I'm still practicing. There are better days, and there are days I fall into my old trained patterns. So I need to stay at it as well. It's my conditioning. It's very strong conditioning in my case from my childhood. But it's worth it to try and break free, and not only breaking free how to handle negative opinions, but also the positive ones. A real challenge to not be limited by the opinions of others. May they be positive or negative, because with the age of 59, authenticity is more important to me than anything else. And don't we all have that craving? So let's grow together if you're struggling with this one. And so I try to catch myself in the moment and ask myself, why is this relevant for me? And the important question to me is how to be ourselves. And how do we stop giving power to people's opinions that don't matter really? How to trust yourself without needing approval. always looking for approval or appreciation, it's also exhausting. So a good way to start is stop reacting. The next time you feel the urge to seek approval from anyone, just pause, don't do anything. 3 seconds. Instead of reacting, simply observe. Because the moment when you stop reacting, you actually create the space of doing something different. And after 3 seconds, you can decide what to do. And another good exercise is learning to say no. Because self-worth, saying no, and people-pleasing, they're all connected. Let me link another video on saying no up here for you. If you haven't seen it, it could be very helpful. And just to sum it up, you could start with small situations. Really, if you're asked to do something that you really don't want to do, get yourself some space by saying something like, let me check my schedule. I can't commit to that right now. Or if you really feel pressured by someone needing an answer right away, you could say something like, please give me a moment to think about this. When it comes to criticism, I would recommend delaying your response. Sleep over it. Give yourself 24 hours before you respond. When someone criticizes you or disapproves of something that you've done or, does something that's maybe painful to you, sleep over it. Get some space for yourself. And what you can do in that time frame is learning really to disidentify, because you are much more than your emotions, your reactions, and to actually connect with the deeper being inside of you, it's important we learn to disidentify of what is going on. And this is also a deep spiritual practice for me regularly. This is why I meditate, connecting with the being that is beyond all of those emotions and all of that thinking. It's very helpful, and it actually changes life. It doesn't mean that you don't fall into old patterns, but you can break free much quicker. Approval seeking doesn't disappear overnight, but your pattern will change every time you pause before you react, or every time you trust your own opinion more than the opinion of others, and every time you decide who actually gets to say something in your life, whose opinion is worthy. By doing this, you get your power back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments to this topic, and if you've enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.